And everybody, I'm Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. So today our topic is going to be about, I'm trying to speed up because I already recorded y'all one video and it went 30 minutes trying to explain this, what I'm trying to explain today. And maybe it was repetitive and redundant, and I don't want to be like that, okay? So let me see if I can get through this as quickly as possible, honoring you and your time. We're going to talk about the golden rule. We're going to talk about doing unto others as though we would have done to us, but we're also going to talk about that connection to codependency because, you know, we have been kind of skewed as a society towards codependency. That's why it's coming out more and more, is because, you know, things have reinforced codependency. First off, our caregivers and our caregivers have enforced codependency, but also there is the religion reinforces codependency, the media, music, and all of that. So being able to live in our own bodies instead of those outside sources. You know, codependency is relying on people, places, and things, really, and as is most addictions, you know, it's kind of, we get a dependency, okay? So we're going to look at this. We're going to look at intention, motivation, and manipulation. So if you like that that's our topic today, and even if you don't like that that's our topic today, because I know when people hear codependency, they're like, oh God, you know, none of us want to really acknowledge codependency, but it's getting more and more popular, and more of us are, you know, becoming aware, because if we want to heal, if we don't want to experience the same pain over and over and that insanity of that same pain, then we become willing to look at this codependency. Okay, but before we get started, I want to welcome you back. If you watch this channel on a weekly basis or listen to these videos on a weekly basis, I want you to know that I sure do love and appreciate you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart in however way that you support this channel, whether it be through, you know, liking, sharing, subscribing, or just sending good vibes, or, you know, if you support this channel monetarily. I do love and appreciate it, because I am not monetized here, because I don't feed algorithms. I just go with what's on my soul, what I hear through the week, and sometimes that's popular and sometimes that's not so popular. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you're new to this channel, I have to let you know that I'm not a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a scientist, any of those things, but I might share on those things. If I feel that it helped me, I might feel that it helped you too. It might be a resource for what this video might be about. What I am is a life coach, though, and I have a webpage called stacyforlife.com. On this webpage, there's a description of the services that I provide as a life coach. I think there's a link to it in this video or on my video page, and you can see what that is. And also I write a monthly blog, so I invite you to check that out. So let's get started in the topic today, because as I said, I want to be mindful of your time. These topics come from whatever it is that I hear or experience the most during the week. And so this week we're talking about codependency. It's a holiday season and we're getting with family, and that's oftentimes our triggers. What a trigger is when something or somebody is consistently getting on your nerves with the same thing. It's just being brought up for our healing. It's not that you're bad or they're bad, but we tend to want to label and judge these things, don't we? And you know, the antidote for judgment is forgiveness. It's forgiveness of ourselves, and it's forgiveness of others. So let's talk about codependency, in case you're not really clear, like I was when I was first called codependency, what that is. So I've made my notes. I'm going to try not to have glasses glare. Why we look at, like, what codependency is when we help people and then they don't do what we want. You know, we have an expectation when we help people, and then they keep doing the same thing, and then we get mad at them because they keep doing the same thing without looking at ourselves and at how insane that is for us to keep helping and them to keep doing the same thing, that it's like nobody's changing, and nothing changes till something changes. So why do we need to do that? Why do we do that? You know, and that's because we want to build confidence and create a need. But we can't build confidence like that. That's not building esteem and confidence through helping somebody who isn't wanting help, really, because what we do is we project our own pains and hurts onto somebody else when we're helping somebody. Oftentimes they didn't even ask for our help, and oftentimes it's, you know, they didn't even want what we were offering. We were coming from our own needs to help them, And then we feel like they don't appreciate us, right? That's what happens when we do this. And then we're like, oh, they don't even appreciate what I do. Well, they probably didn't ask. If we really dissect this, they might not have asked. They might have hinted that they needed help. But, this is where the communication comes in. And we're going to talk about that in this video. So let me read a little bit, because I am trying to be mindful of your time and not ramble on and stay focused, okay? So we're at the end of this year, and I know that many of us are struggling with patience, because we're like, okay, 2021 didn't turn out exactly how maybe I wanted things to turn out, so let's get 2022 going. I don't know. There's all kinds of things going on. So why do they help in build and create that need? Is that we all have the desire to be connected to community and humanity. Right? So codependency, though, results when our caregivers and their caregivers learn to dependency rather than connection. About why we are doing what we're doing. That's the intention and motivation that I talked about. So it's promoted through childhood. It's also skewed through religion and other things. And the media and video. So I said that. And the golden rule. We're taught in school, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So we do this from our own needs. And when we do that from our own needs, rather than from wanting to be nice to people or wanting to help somebody out, then it's codependent. Okay? So it's expectations. Expectations are the biggest problem in codependency. Because if we treat people how we want to be treated, yet they don't comply, we're disappointed. And that's an expectation. Expectations can lack empathy. You see, that's the problem with expectations, is that they lack empathy. And to be connected to humanity and community, we need empathy. Okay, so because we're doing what we're doing. See, the reason they lack empathy is because we're doing what we're doing out of what we want. Which is good. We want people to, receive what we want, but that expectation is not good. What is not good is to expect another to reciprocate that, and not even being clear that what we want is what they want, because we may not even know that that's what they want. So it takes empathy, because of which in turn, it takes empathy. And because of that, it hurts our feelings if they don't reciprocate. So when we're doing it to be empathetic, we're just doing it because we can and we want to. But when we're looking for reciprocation, we're not doing it because we can and we want to. See, because we can and we want to is our connection to humanity, community, and being charitable. Because we're just happy we can do it. We have gratitude with it. So I tell you, I get by with a little help from my friends, and I'm grateful, and they're grateful that they can help me, but there's no expectations, because we're going to talk about the atoms and molecules in just a minute. But in my frequency that I bump around in, is that that's the way we all are, is that we do help each other out, but it's not an expectation. It's a miracle when we help each other out. It's a blessing when we help each other out. We are being a part of a community and humanity involves communication. This is the thing, communication. See, in codependency, we lack communication because we still have that immaturity, those things that we didn't get taken care of as a child, which all of us have things we didn't get taken care of as a child. We tend, in our stupid human tricks, to gauge that this person has a better life than we had, but this person is also feeling like they have a lack. So codependency is not coming from a gratitude, it's coming from a lack place. Okay? So there's the difference between the intentions and motivations and the manipulations, because when we're coming from a place of lack, we oftentimes haven't learned to communicate, so we manipulate. And so the people that we're helping oftentimes are manipulating too, because perhaps they say, I really wish this, and so we tend to take the hint about, oh, okay. I see it on Judge Judy all the time, that people are talking about people wanting to get out of jail, so they tell somebody they want to get out of jail, so somebody gets them out of jail, and it's always like, well, did you ask them to get you out of jail? So, and then it's like, well, no. Well, then you don't owe them money if they didn't ask you in court. Same thing in our giving, is that they're not going to reciprocate if they didn't ask. or there is an unreasonable expectation if they didn't ask, So that's what I mean is people give to me, but they don't expect. If I'm making a loan and I say, can I borrow? And so this is the difference. In codependency, we take it upon ourselves to be generous, but we have an expectation of receiving back from that one person. In community and humanity, we are able to give with gratitude and know that with the universal laws, blessings, that it's able to come back to us. Maybe not from that person, but we don't have an expectation from that person. We just give because we can, and we're grateful. So, being a part of community and humanity is continuously learning to communicate in evolution. Healing our inner dialogue heals our outer dialogue, you see, because most all of us, at least all the people that I work with, we have this inner dialogue. And all of us develop it, but we've just developed this inner dialogue through our immaturity and our evolution. There's nothing wrong with being immature. There's times in our lives where we're supposed to be immature. Oftentimes trauma keeps us trapped in immaturity. And until we heal that trauma, we may stay trapped in immaturity, having expectations that people are going to be able to do things for us that we haven't learned to ask for yet through our communication. So it's what we say to ourselves if we keep doing the same thing, that insanity, and we're being hurt and in pain, that insanity is feeding us the results of our expectations because we expect to not receive, and yet at the same time we expect to receive, but we haven't gathered evidence yet. So gathering evidence requires being able to ask for what we want and need and desire, and not hint or have an expectation that somebody's just going to reciprocate off of our own needs. So doing this involves consciousness. Is if we bring our inner dialogue to our outer dialogue, that's the asking, and bringing our consciousness. And consciousness involves being aware of our intentions and motivations. So why am I asking for this? Why is this that I'm feeling this way? Because I know at the root of my codependency, the root of my addiction, the root of anything, when I'm discontent, unhappy and discontent, it's because I don't feel important enough. And people that were brought up in different ways, they don't feel important enough. I just believe that that's just our ego as human beings, that's the ego part of us, is not feeling important enough. When we get the soul part of us, we know that we're all connected to this humanity and community, and we give up those expectations. But the ego is just part of our immaturity, and we're supposed to grow from our ego into our soul and be aligned, because it's okay to have ego, because that gives us our drive and our will to survive. But we also want to thrive through our soul. What's our intentions and motivations? Is it for the greatest good of all? So that involves rediscovering our past hurts, which become our present hurts, and continued. Sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting, until the depth is acknowledged. So we keep going. Why? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And at the bottom of mine, my whys is if I don't feel important enough. So then I have to, then I can look at myself, well, is that true? Are you not important enough? No, that's not true. So it's being able to be able to laugh at myself then and be like, oh, how silly you are, So in codependency, we learn what is my hurt. Because we are atoms and molecules, and we are being drawn to what makes us happy and evolves our healing. So when we're drawn to these relationships that fail, at first they made us happy, so we were drawn to it. So what was it that we saw that made us happy? Because we have that in ourselves. When we get unhappy, it's also a reflection of what we have in ourselves, because everything's a mirror back to us. There's Shintoism, and that's exactly what that is. It's about that you're mirroring back to you. So we're atoms and molecules, because that's all that matter is made up of, right? We forget our science lessons, me included, when we're young, that we're all just atoms and molecules, and that's an energy, and so we're bumping up against other energies. So when you're at your Christmas things and the family's getting on your nerves again, really nothing changes until something changes, right? So until we change our thoughts and perspectives, is it going to change, until we heal that. And I know that through my healing, I've been able to see the beauty, that not everything was the pain, but sometimes we stay focused on the pain until we heal. So when we heal, we can be real and see, okay, well, we can come at it from no judgment, but, develop a forgiveness of what we thought, that we were not important enough, and understand that as divine connection, we are all important enough. And then I see the importance in you more so, too. So in codependency, we learn what is my hurt, because we are atoms and molecules, like I said, being drawn to what makes us happy and involves our healing, because love is expansive to community and humanity. See, the bottom line's love. It always is. And so some of us didn't learn to love. We learned to love codependently, and that's a love in itself. But if that love is not making us happy, love shouldn't be hard. If we think that our higher power, whoever we perceive that to be, is love, it is hard, but it's not. It's dependent on your consciousness. See, that's why I keep talking about consciousness, it's your consciousness, and your consciousness comes through your healing, because as you peel those things away that's on your soul, that's what we do in the sessions, those things on top of your soul that makes us not feel good enough, those things that makes us not feel important, when we peel those things away, we're able to develop our soul consciousness, okay, which is our connection. And then we don't feel afraid to communicate our wants and needs and desires. And then when they can't be reciprocated, we're just like, okay, without judgment, because we've forgiven ourselves for our past judgments and know that they won't serve us in our future judgments. So it doesn't do any good to judge. It's just to be able to examine ourselves and to be like, okay. And it gives us a better connection, because what we learn in addiction of whatever it is, people, places, and things, is that the more we try to hold on to it, the more it eludes us. But the more we let go of it, the more it approaches us. That attraction and repulsion of the atoms and molecules, right? So, because love is expansive to community and humanity, intimate love is not charity, okay? Charity is to be through humanity and community if you have it. See, in intimate love, sometimes people give what they don't even have, hoping to receive what they're not going to receive. It's insane. That's the insanity of all of it, is that they keep giving and giving and giving you, and as I told you, you go to court and Judge Judy, she's like, so staying or being with someone just because you're afraid that if you're not, they're going to self-destruct. That isn't love. That isn't love. That's not loving yourself. And I suggested to someone earlier this week, maybe you're not loving yourself, and they thought because, oh, I'm a successful person, that is loving themselves. Now, you can be successful, but I'm talking about intimate love, what hurts your soul, because your soul is getting hurt in intimate love. And if you ask yourself, why is it getting hurt, rather than just keep getting hurt in that insanity, if you're able to start doing that examination and going deep to where you felt this way before, then you'll understand. So codependency is not loving ourselves so we can love somebody else, and that's the way it turns up. That's when I know if I'm in codependency, is if I'm not loving myself to love somebody else, So I'm going to close with this, because as I said, I'm trying to be mindful of your time, and I'm sorry for the glasses and glare, but I write these notes to try to keep me focused, because I can go off and it's going to end up being a long video if that happens. So it's like, if you wonder if you're codependent or not, because like I say, I have people who give to me. I get by with a little help from my friends, but there's no expectation. It's a blessing. It's in gratitude, and I receive in gratitude. And then I'm able to give too. So that's, I think, even why people do bless me like that, because I like to give. So learning to have preferences rather than differences, you see, because we don't gauge ourselves higher and lower than people after we heal from our codependency, because we don't feel higher and lower than other people. You understand? Because when maybe we're a successful person, but we're given to somebody who's maybe not as successful as us because we're trying to make them successful, but if they haven't expressed that desire, then there's, we're being insane, because we haven't learned to communicate or to honor ourselves, because that's about what being connected to humanity and community is, about honor and respect for ourselves and others. So learning to have preferences rather than differences, and own our preferences. It's okay to own our preferences, because some people have been taught not to own your preferences. It's okay to own our preferences, and to politely, positively honor your preferences. Given because you want to, not because it's a charity. Given because you want to. And I'm not saying don't give to charities, because there are valid charities to give to, but I'm talking about intimate relationships, y'all. Intimate relationships should not be charity. It should be equal. There should not be one person up here and one person down here. Two halves, to me, don't make a whole. Now, I know some people may think that, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but to me, two halves don't make a whole. A whole and a whole. And do we human beings have issues? Yes, as long as we're above ground, issues are going to come and go. Come and go. It's part of the divine flow, and so it's about being able to encourage each other, but not take on each other's stuff. That's a healthy relationship. Unhealthy is when you're the one feeling like you're pulling all the weight, and if you feel like that, then it's time to gauge yourself and quit bitching at the other person. Okay? Alright, well, I hope this video has been helpful. I've tried to make it as short as possible. Like I said, the other one was 30 minutes. And so if you have any questions or any feedback, feel free to email me at stacyreneeforlife.com, Sorry. Or you can also check me out at stacyforlife.com. And, look at my Facebook page if you like. Stacy Renee. Stacy is organizing and decorating for life. And check in the feeds below, because I sure do. I want to thank you again, all of you, in much gratitude, and wish you happy holidays. I love and appreciate you. Thank you for however you encourage and feed the unity and the connection and consciousness of this universe, whether it's my videos or somebody else's, however you contribute, however you try to raise this vibe of this universe to where we have more healing and forgiving and unity, rather than keep dividing each other, realizing that what I see in another person is possible that I have in myself, or what is it that drives me to like and dislike everything, and to understand that it's just about preferences and not judgment of those things. So thank you very much. I wish you much peace and love and happy holidays and many blessings. Thank you. Bye now.